Hey, 0 Hour, it's Jason and George. How are you?
Hey, how's it going, buddy?
Pretty good.
So
Thanks for calling. Yeah.
So I've been looking up the family tree. That's where I've been going with it. So I know you guys are going down another route, but I decided, I'm going to look at, Imran and everybody's family tree and where it goes back when they first got into the country, things like that. So I started looking into it, and I found a company called Cell Plan, which is housed at 1920.
Cell Plan?
Cell Plan, S1L. Cell Plan is at 1920 Association?
Yes, they're headquartered there.
Oh, okay.
Cell
Well,
Plan
that's a big
Technology.
deal. That's a big deal. Okay.
They're on the 4th floor. They did the DidX voice IP grant that they got from the government. They did all, voice over IP phone services and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, they did that contract through the federal government. Well, Imran's father was the head of the team for the WiMAX.
Uh-huh.
So they did that up there on that floor. But below them is the Intel, or the DOD, U.S. Comms, electronic communications by the Department of Defense.
Right.
I found it weird that Imran's father was working in the same building as that, and then Imran comes in.
Was Imran's father Mohammed Shah? Was he working at Blue Sky or Blue Sky?
Well, the thing is, his name's not Mohammed Shah. It's Mohammed Imran Awan.
Right.
His name's not even Shah. I found this through going back through.
Right.
He changed his name.
Right. Right before he died, supposedly.
Yeah, that was to defraud the guys with the bowl of Huggies.
Right, and before that, he worked for a company called United Emirate Technologies in the Middle East.
Oh, okay.
The UAE.
Yeah.
So I found him through that. I sent you guys a link of the...
I got those.
The write-up for it.
Yep.
Yeah.
So he was over there doing that, but he was doing cloud mobile technologies.
Oh, okay.
Which is funny because Chip Block also does the cloud mobile technology.
How could that possibly be the guy's real name, right?
Yeah, it's not a real name.
What, Chip Block?
Yeah. But that's okay. Don't worry about that.
I don't know, but those two are shady anyway, because you got Imami, who's over in Iran doing all kinds of real estate. I sent you guys a link to his page. You'll see all the different buildings and the architecture.
Yep.
He's over there hiking. Now, if you owned an Intel firm in the United States that's handling this kind of classified data, because it's top secret.
Yep.
If you look at the other link I showed you, why on earth would Iran even allow him into the country? They're not going to breach him if he holds that kind of intel?
Let me stop you. Let me explain. Imran is just the placeholder. These are all DoD programs. The SS7, SS8 backbone intercept, all the long lines intercept. The DoD's been doing this forever. They just throw somebody in from a foreign intelligence service to do the liaison loophole, so they don't have to report any of this stuff. That's the reason.
Okay.
So
I just
VoIP.
find it funny that Iran would let him,
So
go
VoIP
through the countryside.
VoIP is the same way. The backbone, listening to all the VoIP traffic. It's all NSA. It's all a cutout. He's just a cutout, and his dad was before him. And the reason why they wanted to get him out of the country, everybody thinks his dad died. The reason why they wanted to get him out of the country was because of this, him threatening his stepmom, and that case was going to that detention case was going to come forward. That's why they had to get him out of the country.
Right. Now, is Imran gone now? He has to stay, doesn't he?
Oh, well, he has to stay till his trial, but they're trying to get the trial dropped right now, and I'm sure they've moved for the dismissal already, but the public opinion, I don't think, will allow it.
Now, if you follow the person that they came into in Duluth, that's where they came into the United States in Minnesota.
Right.
They stayed with a guy named Sultana. I don't know if you guys have researched this or not.
Yeah.
The guy Sultana is linked to all kinds of military politicians over in Pakistan.
Yeah.
And when I was doing the family tree, it led me to this guy named Farouk Awan.
Yeah.
Who is off of one of his niece's Facebooks, which led me to that profile. Well, this guy's top notch over in Pakistan. You should look him up. Things Atlanta that they stayed at. I sent you guys a picture of his, whatever it is, his airline ID or whatever it is. I don't know what the heck it was. But
Yeah, I got all these DMs here. I see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's basically the trail I've been following. It's just the family makeup.
Yeah, I had him.
To 1920.
I had him in Mississauga. I haven't covered any of this. I had him in Mississauga near Toronto, and we went all over, looked at different places that they were setting up. Normally what they do when these operatives come in, they teach them to get into a program. They get on some kind of public assistance right away, so they got money coming in. Then they start borrowing money to get houses, and then they set up usually kind of like prescription drug operations. So they showed.
Well, what I found in Duluth, they were at a dentist office address.
Yeah.
But across the street was the Logix government.
Yeah.
Intel place, which I found really weird too. Like when I looked across the street, it had that building with a lot of tech in it. So wherever these guys are ending up, they're ending up near a lot of tech.
Yeah.
I found that quite,
I believe
that these guys just end up everywhere with this tech.
Yeah.
Government.
So they were going to go with Iridium for a while to manage the rat lines. They were going to go for Iridium transceivers, and BlackBerry was really heading toward Iridium. And so Imran Shah went down to, not Imran Shah, Mohammed Awan went down to Texas, and he started this company called Blue Sky Link, and they were doing the Iridium. But then they got kind of fell in love with these nanosats, because the Special Forces was using these nanosats. Well, they're only about 4 inches square, and they burn up, but they're so cheap that they're just throw them away when they're done. So they've moved. Logix and all that kind of stuff, all those kind of logistics companies are just using different technologies as different technologies come down the road. But it's the same thing over and over. It's to manage the rat lines. It's the same thing over and over and over. I mean, this goes back.
I looked at a website that the father had created, and it was all about instant recall, recalling from memory, things like that. And the only thing I could think of was this dude was teaching his kids how to instant recall. They're looking at data, and they're able to go back to wherever they are, and they're able to rebuild that data.
Yeah.
It was called Brainstorm.
Yeah.
I put that link out there too. I don't know if you've seen it, but
no, I got all the DMs.
Well, in any intelligence services, they teach them to look at stuff like how to read upside down, how to scan a whole desk, look at where the person's made annotations and markings. See if you can get spill coffee to try to get them to divert them, so you can take a picture. All that shit is all
right. So what
stuff.
I think some of these guys were doing is they were looking at data in Congress and then going back to their houses and rebuilding. It wouldn't be that hard. I mean, if you got 5 people working in operation and they're all with different senators, I mean, they could recall everything.
Well, but most of the time,
think about it in that aspect.
Most of the time, over the last 30 years, the agencies have really gone away from human intercept and human intelligence, and it's all tech now. So all like Imran would have been doing at Congress is you take a toner cartridge and you smile at all the secretaries and you warm everybody up. Then the second time you go in, you switch the routers. You get the trust first, and then the second time you go in, you switch the router for an identical router, and then
did you see the link I put up with the WiMAX Technologies? It's got to do with Linksys routers. Yeah. Which they had worked on.
Yeah, that's all.
It was a government grant too. It's crazy. And then if you look at Vault 7, it tells you how you can manipulate the routers.
Right. But it's best just to go in, unhook it, and put in yours. You know what I mean? And then you have your backdoor burned into the iOS. But most of these guys, you think, oh my God, how could they be in all these things? They're really not. It's kind of like just being a aqua cool water delivery guy. You just go in, you create some kind of diversion, and then you switch the routers. Or you do it at 1-2. You set up with, hey, here's donuts on the first visit, and then the second visit you do the router swap.
Well, the fact that the DNC leak, if you look at it, they copied the NGP van. NGP van.
Yeah.
Well, that's just mobile. It was mobile software for phones. That's all that was.
What do you mean?
Oh,
are you talking about
minivan.
4K solutions?
Minivan.
No,
No.
Yeah, minivan.
No,
Yep.
minivan.
Yep.
What is that?
Minivan is just a
They
handheld
were
version.
doing the software installs for everybody.
Yeah.
Minivan is a
how they
mobile
got that
version of
data.
NGP van?
Yep. Yes, it is.
Huh. How come we haven't
They
heard about
cloned
that?
the phone.
Say again, Zero?
They cloned the phone.
Yeah.
Which phone?
When they took, remember when they had the iPads and all the Blackberries and
Yes.
things like that?
Yeah, of course.
They took the Blackberry and just cloned the phone.
He was doing all kinds of stuff with Blackberries, wasn't he?
Oh yeah, it was. You know, it's easy to clone a phone. You can do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and was it attached? Was it an insert in the on the end of the minivan? Is that how they were doing it?
I don't know because half the structure's missing. Like if you look at the files, you can see like when certain folders were changed. If you look at the dates, some will say 7, 9, 8. So what these guys did was the creation. You're missing sections of the folders. Like there's a lot of stuff missing. Like they took out the contacts. They took out things like that. If you could actually see the contacts, you would know whose phone they cloned. That's why they removed that data.
I see. That's why they deleted it. Okay. So you think they had everybody's? You think they had everybody's phone at DNC? I think they had everybody's phone.
I think they did all the maintenance work for the phones and things. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, well.
Absolutely.
Well, then they
Down my
definitely-
mind. I think they cloned a lot of phones.
Yeah.
I think they cloned iPads too. You know, if you look at one point, he had Pelosi's iPad ID.
Pelosi's.
Oh yeah, Pelosi's iPad, not just.
She's on, and she gets the same intel as the president of the United States.
Yeah, she's on the Gang of 8. She's on the Gang of 8. Yeah.
Well, she also got
Right,
nervous as
so-
hell when people asked her about Imran.
Yeah.
Right. Now you remember during the election when the kids got into, was it Podesta's iPad? Remember that? They reset his iPad?
I thought it was his cell phone.
His iPhone, I think.
I thought it was his iPhone. But that was
Same
a cover. That was a phishing cover for all the other phishing that they did with Act Blue and Act Blues.
Right. Well, these kids in 4chan, they actually got a hold of Podesta's password. It was in the WikiLeaks.
Right. I saw
They reset his iPad. Now, they could have actually done some damage if they really set it up right. They could have downloaded all his email again.
Yeah.
But they unfortunately formatted it. But, yeah. So that's how crazy that was. I mean, these guys were just giving out their passwords like it was nothing to all their technology to these 5 individuals.
Well, that's kind of the whoops, I did it again. Whoops, I did it again. I was extremely careless giving away all, the F-35 to the Chinese. I was extremely careless.
I mean, how much intel did these guys give out?
Yeah.
Well,
I think they sold the DNC leak on the black market. I think that's where that came from. If you notice, all of a sudden, Assange isn't getting any more leaks. He's putting out stuff that's recycled. Like he put out the Macron stuff that was from somebody else in Florida.
yeah.
So
well, I can tell you.
Julian has lost his.
I can tell you right now, Macron's a throw. Macron is a throw to get away from the domestic issue. They're trying to get WikiLeaks off this. Julian, I could just tell you, Julian was paying attention to the Wan brothers until they gave him the Macron stuff this morning, and they're trying to get Julian off this topic because they don't want a world of researchers going into all the car dealers that Wan's defrauded and all the dead car dealers in D.C. That's the last thing.
Well, they were good. I mean, they were good. I mean, I think, ISI told them they could do whatever they wanted as long as they kept providing the data.
Right.
Now, that was their pay, like with all these land deals that I see. I mean, that's crazy. I mean,
Listen,
like
Zero.
7 or 8 land deals.
Zero, would you be interested in appearing on our show on Skype to talk about this some more? We're going to push this call out. Do you need us to mask the voice or anything like that?
No, that's fine. You don't have to. I'll see what's on my agenda. I got some things to do, but I'll tell you what, I'll give you a call back maybe in a few hours.
Okay, yeah, let's do that. All right, listen, man, thanks very much for calling. I'm really glad we connected here, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, research the father, though, because he
Yeah.
knows a lot of this stuff.
Yeah. He's an operative. He's an operative. I knew that, but
Yeah.
you just can't tell the public that.
Have you guys been to Minnesota yet? Have you guys checked out Minnesota?
Yeah. I went up there. Twice.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff in Canada that I got too that I just haven't been able to use yet. It's coming though. I got the mother and the coming in, and I got.
Right. And he's related to Dr.
I'll tell you.
Saeed, right?
Which one's that?
Dr. Akhtar Saeed?
No, I don't know him.
That's one of the uncles.
Oh.
Look him up. I put the links out. Anyway,
Yeah.
He's related to Sultana, so obviously he's got to be related to. There's a lot of stuff they don't want knowing about the A1s.
Yeah, I thought Sultana.
Keep changing their name.
I thought Sultana was just the pass-through, the sponsor pass-through, up in Duluth, and they were bringing them in through Toronto and Ottawa. But anyway, we'll get back on this. I got to get some coffee.
Yeah.
All right, thanks, 0 Hour.
They actually lived at his address, though. That's what brought me to Sultana.
But they got this little thing from the Mughal Empire, and they're trying to convince them all they're all priests, and they're trying to take it all back to when before the British took over, and put back the empire, and they've convinced them all they're not priests, but they've convinced them all they're all princes and all this crap. So
yeah,
I'll get it.
I just can't believe the Imami guy. I mean, that's crazy. They're letting this guy Imami run to Iran, and Iran ain't debriefing that guy at the airport.
Yeah.
I find it crazy.
All right, I got to get coffee.
If
I
one
can't.
of our guys did that, say if that was Flynn going over there to Iran, they would be raising holy hell.
Absolutely.
Right, sure.
But this guy's going hiking.
Let's talk.
Anyway,
let's talk in a couple hours.
Good talking to you.
Thanks,
All right,
0.
thanks, 0 Hour.
Yeah.
Take care, man.
All right, thanks, 0. All right, bye.
Bye-bye.